Hey, what's going on, everyone? Dominic, the Primetime Treasure Hunter here. We're going to do another store review video today. For those of you who don't know the background of this, I did put a challenge out previously to people who are members of the Facebook Reselling Resource Center and also to people who are subscribed on this channel or who just watch. And I said, listen, if you feel that you are following the best practice strategies for reselling online, yet you are still having slow sales, to send me an email and give me permission to show your store. So I obviously need the store link, and to also let me use your first name. And if you do that, I will review your store for free right here on the channel. And so I've done several of these in the past. If you're new to the channel, haven't seen them, just click on the playlist tab right here. And then when you do that, you'll see a section that's called store reviews, and you could see the other ones. These are helpful for people as I have gotten the feedback from others who've watched it, even if you're not actually the person getting reviewed, because you could take a lot of the tips from the video that I'm going to do and you could try to generalize it and apply it to your store. And that will definitely be the case with the types of things I'm going to go over in this video. And the person who I am going to help out today is none other than Neutron Bomb. Many of you know him. He has a YouTube channel of that name. I would suggest you go over there and check it out. I will link to it down below in the description section, and I will also link to this store that you see right now called Neutron Collectibles and Such. Now, his real name is Newton. He is a moderator in my Facebook group. He's a great guy. He's a subscriber to the channel. He's been one for a long time. He often puts comments down, and many of you know him from the live shows and stuff. He's on the side in the chat, very active. Great guy, so I'd love to try to help him out. Now, as I say in the beginning of every one of these videos, my intent here is not to sound or come across punitive in any way. I am not trying to sound critical in a bad way, although I am trying to provide a critique because that's what was asked of me to do. So someone's in a difficult situation, sales are slow, they're not quite selling things for as high as the price as they want to. What's going on? Let's take a deep dive and try to help out. So we have to identify problems so we could fix them. So that's the spirit of the review and the intent. Let's go into Neutron's email to me so I could display that and show you what he said. Let me make this a little bigger for you. But it says, Dominic, at your convenience, please give my eBay store a review. Background, Q4 tanked. Followed some of your and Casey's earlier tips in Q1. Casey, of course, is Casey the Rockstar Flipper. Go to that channel, by the way, for a lot of really good bestseller techniques to help improve your sales too. So it says, seems to be getting traction, purged over 400 items, going after higher valued items, want more sustained current sales, still struggling with free shipping thing, mostly one-offs, all eBay except books on Amazon. And so I could just tell you from follow-up conversations with Neutron, and I just know when he went into it, he started to try to sell books on Amazon through FBA. He was doing very well, but his sales on that went down because of the restrictions that were put in place by Amazon on FBA sellers for the coronavirus pandemic, because they're only allowing essential items in right now. So FBA sellers can't replace or replenish their inventory. So it's causing a lot of people to have decreased sales. In fact, many people quite significantly. And so that makes this review, and it makes eBay even more important, because these are items that the seller has on hand. They're not dependent on Amazon to get them out. You just got to find a way to sell them and make your customer make that purchase, or get your customer to make the purchase. So what I'm going to start off with, as I do in all the videos, is just my initial impression of the storefront. And keep in mind that these things that I mentioned about the storefront are not things necessarily that are blocking anyone from making a sale on a specific items, but these are specific item. These are things that I think are important, though, because they help to establish branding and brand loyalty. They help bring people come back to your store and to make more sales in the future. So that's why I mentioned them. But we are going to take a deeper dive into some of Neutron's specific items and go over some techniques as relates to that, to make sure that we could get Neutron's sales moving a little faster. So Here, you could see the name of the store. I like Neutron Collectibles and such. It matches up with his real name, being Newton. And we have a logo and we have a banner here, which I always suggest that people get. The logo is good in the sense that it matches up with the name. The name is Neutron, so we've got some kind of neutron bomb or gigantic explosion thing going on there, which is great. But I would make a couple suggestions on this as well as the banner in terms of improving things a bit. So what I would suggest is to try to incorporate the name of the store somewhere in here. And that may mean redesigning the logo to some extent. Like you could see here with my store, if you go down to the left here, it says Primetime Treasure next to the treasure chest. So I have the treasure chest in there to link up to the store name, but then I also have the name in there because you want people to just continuously think of that name and remember that name. That's very important. And the only way you could do that is if you continuously get it out there somehow. As you could see here, I have my banner that spans across the page, and the items or types of items that I sell are quite visible. And they span across the page, whereas here you could see we have a shrunken banner. So I would try and get the banner enlarged so it cuts across the page, and to try to eliminate wasted space in the banner area. Like you could see here, there's just nothing there. I would rather that stuff be taken up by items that you're selling, particularly your art Neutron, which we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So you want to highlight that type of stuff. You do have the name here, which is good. But we have no items behind it. You can see here there are ways where you could make it transparent so you could still see behind it, although a little bit shaded. There's different ways you could do it. You could work it. And you don't necessarily have to do it exactly like this in terms of having a transparency there. But what I'm mainly saying is try to get the banner bigger, try to make it more prominent, try to display your items, because really I have to kind of squint to see what kind of stuff you're selling there. And when I look at it, what I mostly see is couple of books and something that looks like a clock and some kind of figure strumming a guitar or something like that. And that's pretty much it. Whereas in the description here of the store, which is good that it's one line, which I always encourage people to do that, keep it short and concise, you have lots of other things listed that you sell: toys, electronics, collectibles, artwork, Disneyana, shoes, handbags, much more. I'm not seeing all that stuff here, so it would be good if there was more of a linkage between the things, again including your art Neutron. For those of you who don't know, Neutron is a talented artist. He makes these little I'll show you right here. It's like these alcohol ink paintings. He has it as one of his featured items. So here's an example of one that he sent me in the mail. It was a nice little gift that he sent me, and they're reasonably priced. I have it displayed behind me on the mantle, but Neutron, just to give you kind of like an inside look in terms of what a customer might think of if they even knew you were selling that type of thing. Let's say they bought one in the past, they want to come back and buy another one. This gets into categories a little bit, because it was hard for me to find what category it was in. Now, it's great to have categories. I always suggest having your categories fleshed out, and Neutron did a good job in putting a lot of categories in here. The problem is it's hard for me to find things because they're not alphabetized. So it's a simple button that you just press where you go and organize in your store, and you just click it and we'll put everything in alphabetical order. There's another way you could sort it, which is by the amount of items that you have. You could, the most amount of items will be first, then second, third, fourth, and so forth. If not, the way it's going to go in is how you actually the time in which you put it in. So if Neutron typed collectibles first, that's what goes first, then toys and hobbies, then art, which is I think how he wound up doing it. So organize it better. And here's why. So I'm trying to figure out where this is, and I'm looking down. It's taking me a long time. And by the way, most people won't do this. If they can't find something fast, they move on. So you want them to be able to find it fast. So I'm looking and I'm like, all right, well, maybe it's under pottery and glass because, there's glass here. So I clicked on that. And as you could see, as we scroll down on the page, I don't see any of that stuff there. So it's not there. So then I looked back. I said, where else is it? I don't see anything. It's obvious. It says show more. So I clicked on that. I went down. I looked. I clicked on crafts because I figured, well, maybe it's something crafty. So I went down. Couldn't find it. Saw a few items, but not that. So then I went up. I went back to the top of the categories. I saw collectibles. I said, well, maybe he considers them collectibles because you could see it that way. So went down. Don't see any. See, not there. Then I went back, and then I finally found them. They were under art. Now you might say, well, of course it's under art because it's art. Well, yeah, but it's also crafty, and maybe I would have seen it as art if it was alphabetized right up top here. So if you were to click it, it was going to go above toys, it's going to go above collectibles, and so it'll be more towards the top of the page and easier for someone to find. So I'd encourage you to do that. And this is for anyone, by the way, who sells something handcrafted, something that's unique to you, only you make it. Make sure that that's something that people at your store know when they come to it. That should be something that's displayed prominently because it is your specific thing. It's something associated with your branding. So maybe here you want to actually type Neutron's artwork instead of just artwork, or Neutron's handmade artwork. And then maybe you knock out a couple things here just to make this still one line. You could take out the shoes or the handbags if you're not selling a ton of that stuff. You could even take out the thank you for visiting. It's polite, but I'd rather have something unique to your branding in there rather than the polite phrase at the end. Although if you could keep it, that's good too. So another thing I would suggest here is the username. You could see here it says Cranfo12. That's a personal username. That's the kind of thing that someone uses when they're trying to make their email address, so they take some part of their name, and that is part of his name. And 2 digits could be like from your birthday or street address or something like that, or just some random numbers. And, people know that when they see that. They don't think of it so much as a business. So you want to make things align up. Business, 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 professional, professional, professional. Make everything line up. Get that branding out there so people know when they just keep seeing the name Neutron's Collectibles over and over. Because, again, look at my store, right? Primetime Treasure right there. Boom. Hits you right in the face. Right there. Then over here, Primetime Treasure. Primetime Treasure, Primetime Treasure. And now I just said it 4 times, so you're thinking Primetime Treasure. But there it is, 4 times, and it's the same as my username. So you want to just continue to get that out there. Now, if you have a really long name like Neutron, Collectibles, and such, then you might not be able to, it might not be practical to make it that long, but maybe just Neutron Collectibles would be good. As long as you're getting that out there, I'd like to see that name here at least 2 more times so you get that branding established, and then you get more followers. You see there's 29 followers. That could definitely go up, increase. These are people who are going to be tracking what it is. Once you get listed, then they come back. They see what you have up, they're more likely to make a sale. And that's how these types of things link up to help you out. So now that we did that, let's dive into some specific items. So literally, I was scrolling down here, and I don't click on every single item. Neutron has over 400 things listed. So I just try to take a look, and I'm looking for something that was kind of like moderately priced and something that would jump out to me. And this was the first thing that jumped out to me. Right here, it's the Sports Illustrated Dale Earnhardt magazine. And the thing that jumped out to me, really 2 things I would say, and this is the listing bigger. I have a bunch of tabs opened up so it's just easier to follow, is that it's Dale Earnhardt and it's NASCAR. And in general, I avoid NASCAR Dale Earnhardt stuff like the plague. Because, and that's no offense to Dale Earnhardt, rest in peace, but that is really just because it's generally very overproduced stuff with very little value. Now, there are exceptions. I know people are going to type me comments that there's exceptions and they sold something for this amount of money and that amount of money. I know that. I'm just saying that in general, as a rule of thumb, I tend to avoid this type of stuff. There are limited edition types of things, very special types of pieces that will sell, but you've got to be careful. A magazine is right into the wheelhouse, though, of something that would be overproduced because they made it, and they made it to be collectible. And one of the things that they talk about on, if you ever watch the show Pawn Stars, the old man, he used to say, anything that was ever made to be collectible, usually doesn't wind up being too collectible or too valuable. It's those things that weren't made to be that way that wind up being sought after because they're lower in supply and then higher in demand. So everyone went out and grabbed this thing. Special, you could see here right up top, special commemorative issue. So a lot of people jumped on it because of the emotion. So a lot of people have there. Now, the other thing that jumped out to me was the price, $39.15, and also the shipping price. So first of all, for shipping price, unless this magazine weighs over a pound, it doesn't have to go priority mail. You could just send this out first class and it's going to get there just about as quickly. So, and that'll save about half of the price off of the shipping. Now, the price here, $39.15, is just really off compared to what the market is showing. And this is going to take some time to do this, everybody. That's why I say, this is a good time to do this stuff. You're sitting at home, you're under self-quarantine, or you're, in a state where they're telling you can't go out for most things. This is a good thing to do. Go through the prices, and if you're brand new, you're just starting out selling, this is what you want to do. You just want to go into eBay. You're going to go into the search. I'll scroll up just so you could see it. There's if you're totally brand new, there's an advanced tab for search right there. You just click on that. You type your search. You can see here I typed in Sports Illustrated 2001 Dale Earnhardt, and then you click the little box that says completed sales. And so any price here that is in black means it didn't sell, and anything in green is something that did sell. So let's go down and let's see where we could get to when we find one of these that actually sold. And you could see we've got a lot of black. Now we have some that have sold in combination with another magazine, but that's not directly comparable to what Neutron has because he only has one of things. And look at these. These are ones for $18.45, not selling. Let's keep going down. Let's keep going down. Where are we going to be? All these are not selling. This, by the way, is why it's important. I've said this before, but again, if you're new, don't just click sold. Click completed and sold, because this gives you a sense of the sell-through rate, and you're seeing that at these prices, this magazine is just not selling. So let's keep going down. Keep going down, and finally we have one that's sold, and it's sold for $11.99. That's the highest that this magazine sold in the last 60 days. So just click on it, make sure it's big enough for everyone there who's watching at home to see this. There it is, $11.99. That's your max. So now let's go to the current marketplace and find what the cheapest available option is. If someone wanted this, they wanted to get it, where are they going to go? So we're going to keep scrolling. We're going to scroll, and here we go. We've got one here that's sponsored at $5.50, okay, and $4.50 standard shipping, not $8 expedited shipping, $4.50 standard shipping. So this is going to cost right around $10. And you can see here he's got more than 10 available, and here's the key. This person has sold 25 of these. Sold 25 because he's selling them for $10. He probably bought them in bulk. That's another thing that gets to my prior point, is that these were overproduced. So whoever bought these probably bought 50, 60 of them, probably got them at like 10 cents a piece or 25 cents a piece, and is just making money selling them off in bulk at $10 a pop. Now, given that this is going to be prominently displayed as a sponsored listing at $5.50 and some change, and that we also have, here's another person selling it for free local pickup for $3.99. So that's only going to cost that person $4 if you happen to live close to that person. And then here's another one on auction for $1.34 plus $2.80 shipping. So you could get this for pretty cheap. Here's another one here, $5.50 free shipping you could get it for. So the other one I showed you was a sponsored listing, but that's $5.50 free shipping. So with that being said, with knowing that the highest price sold in 60 days is $11.99 free shipping, and that you could get this book right now for around $10, what does that tell you about this item? That tells you that the market value for this magazine is clearly established at around $10 to $12. That's where it is. So what that is also telling you is that there is almost no way that anybody is going to purchase this magazine for $39.15, let alone the $8.25 shipping. It's just not going to happen. Can a miracle occur every once in a while? Yes. But if that's what you're basing your business on, you can't base your business on rare miracles. You have to base your business, especially if you want to make quicker sales, you have to base it on what's going on in the market. So let's go into another item here. Let's see. I was scrolling through Neutron Store, and what was another one that I found? Oh, the puzzle. Okay, let's go talk about the puzzle. So here we go. I was going up, and this one just jumped out to me, being someone who was, I was born in Brooklyn, and so native New Yorker. I used to love driving by the World Trade Centers. Of course, we all have fond memories of the World Trade Center anyway, given the tragedy that happened there. And so World Trade Center items, by the way, are things you should pick up. If I see anything World Trade Center, I get it. And that includes puzzles. I've sold World Trade Center puzzles before. But this puzzle, the price again is pretty high on it. You can see here it's $31.04 and $10.90 shipping. So a couple things about it when we go and we look at comps for it is, so that's about a $41 puzzle basically when you add it together. Ravensburger is really like one of the big names in puzzles out there. So if you've got a Ravensburger puzzle, and this person spelled it wrong here, so they've got it, and they still made the sale. But if you have that kind of puzzle from that company and it's sealed, pretty good shot that you're going to make the sale. But one of the things that you notice in these, right, is they have the pieces. How many pieces are in the puzzle? What's one of the things that we are missing here from Neutrons? Where's Neutrons item? Here it is. It doesn't say in the title how many pieces there are. And anyone who's making a puzzle is going to want to know how many puzzle pieces there are. So you say, well, maybe it's in the description. So let's go down to the description, and the description just pretty much says what it says up top. There's nothing additional added to it really, except I think the condition saying used. But beyond that, I cannot tell if I want to buy this how many pieces there are. And if I want to work on this with my family, I want to know, is this 500 pieces? Is this 1,000 pieces? Because that's going to give me an estimate of how much time I'm going to have to put into it. It's good that it's sealed, but it should say somewhere on the box. So you figure, all right, well, maybe it's in the picture somewhere. It's in the other pictures. Well, no, if we look at the other pictures, so this one here is the front of it, right? Then this one here, we've got a dimension going in terms of one side, and then we've got the dimension going the other way. So that's important information to know, but I wouldn't necessarily take up another 2 pictures with that, or at least if I did, I'd want to make sure I put other pictures in there or another picture in there that showed how many pieces are in the puzzle. Another thing, by the way, that I would suggest is to get rid of any kind of distracting background. Like you can see here, it looks like there's like something leather there, like some leather item. Make nice, clean, and crisp pictures. Like if you look over here, this is displayed, really nice with, the background here is not, really distracting at all. I mean, I would prefer it to be a white background, but, you could clearly see all of the margins of the items. I do suggest that people don't cut things off. When you start cutting things off, then people don't know, is there damage to the side of the box? Is there something the person's trying to hide? So make sure you avoid doing that. And generally, by the way, when I take measurements of things, I try to take the measurements to the side of the item so that I'm not obstructing the view. Of course, you could go back over here and you could see the view, but that's just stylistic way that I like to go about doing the measurements. But so that's what I would suggest with regards to display of the puzzle and making sure, and puzzles are a real important thing to sell right now. I've talked about this in a recent video in terms of things people are looking for to spend the time. They want puzzles. So they're going to even search for 1,000-piece puzzles, 5,000-piece puzzles. And guess what? For any person that's typing in a certain type of piece puzzle, Neutrons is not going to come up because there's no pieces listed. Now, it'll come up if they type in World Trade Center, if they're looking for that. But if they're looking for pieces, or if they checked off, see right over here, you could check off the number of pieces. If they check that off at all and Neutron doesn't have that enabled, then his are going to get knocked out of the search. So you've got to be careful about that. Then we look at pricing. And so some of these sell for over $41, but these are ones that are from, prominently named companies, and they're sealed. Now, Neutrons is sealed, but if we start to go down, we really, once we get past like this fourth one, everything else is pretty much under that $41 mark. I mean, here, this one's $30.69, this 1,000-piece puzzle. Everything else is below that. So you've got to say, if you're going to try to sell something that is above what the general market price is out there for it, and this is the one, by the way, that I've sold in the past, this one here, what's the justification for that? What makes it so special to put it up towards the top? You've got to display items like that better. You've got to make sure the specifics are there for it. All that type of stuff is important. In terms of also the company, like if there's a known company that made this, I don't know that from looking at it. I don't see that listed here. I'm going to scroll down to see if maybe I missed it, but I don't see it there. So the pricing is something that I would work on for this, because it's just, seems to be above where, again, the market is for this type of item. So let's go into another item here. Let's go back to Neutron's store, scroll back. One of the other things that I saw, and I mentioned earlier, that Neutron sells Disney stuff, and one of the things I like to sell, and this goes back to puzzles again, but many of you remember seeing me purchase these at the flea market and also at garage sales. I love buying these play school puzzles, but with rare exceptions, with the play school puzzles, pretty much when I sell these in bulk. I sell these in a lot of 4 or 5 or 6. It's really rare that I would sell just one. It would have to be something that was super special and really, really uncommon or unusual. And there's nothing about this Donald Duck one that is uncommon or unusual. So you'll see that, an example of that over here. If we go over and we do some comps research. Now this is Neutrons again. I have it open over here. $15 plus $8.25 shipping. So that's going to wind up being $23.25. Let's look at the competition. Okay, now look at this. We have got someone who sold 5 puzzles. This is something along the lines of what I would do. 5 puzzles, and they sold 5 puzzles, including the one Neutron has, for $40. So $29.99 plus $10 shipping. So you've got to say, okay, well, that's not $23 per puzzle. That's a lot less than that. And so, if someone's selling bulk lots like this, and this is one that's included in it, why am I going to spend $23 for one puzzle? Unless you were really, really attached to it and really, looking for and just had to have it and just saw the first one and just grabbed it. Again, maybe once in a while you could get lucky on something like that, but generally not. A lot of these are even selling for less than $23. Some of these are selling for less than $23 when combined with another puzzle. So you could see an example of this here, because a best offer was taken. That would have dropped the price most likely below $23. So if we scroll down and scroll down and scroll down, scroll down, here's some that didn't even sell as combos less than $23. So this one's like right around, let me see here. Maybe there is another one I could show here. This one here, this is one that did sell. This one is $20. But that's a one-off. That still is below the 23, but if we keep going down a little bit more, we will not find an example of another one that's sold until we get down. You can see all these are ones that didn't sell until we get to this one here, which sold for $13.50. So $13.50, and then we go down, we see another one, $8 plus $5 shipping. So there you go, $13 again. $5 plus $5 shipping, so $10. So where is the cluster? Where are the bulk of these selling? And some of these aren't even selling for $10. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind as well. So in general, when this thing sells, it's generally somewhere around an $11 to $13 item. We have a one-off of one selling for 20. So now let's go and look at what people are currently selling the item for right now, and we could see a bunch of people currently selling it for that price. So here's a person selling it for $4.50 plus $7.84 shipping, so right around that $13 price range there. So again, you have to ask yourself, if we've got multiple people who are selling this item for right around $13, here's a sponsored one for $16. Let's scroll down, see if we could find another one that's cheaper. Here's one that's like $10 plus $4.25 shipping. Plus, this one looks a little bit brighter as well, and it looks a little bit cleaner. Let me zoom up on it a bit so we could all see it. Yeah, there we go. I mean, there's a little blemishing on the bottom, but it generally looks a little bit whiter than Neutron's here. What I noticed there, if you look really closely, you could see what looks to be like some dust on there. I would try to wipe that off if I'm right on that. It looks like there's a little bit of dust there. So just try to wipe that off as much as possible. Also, again, centering it and making it so that none of the margins are being cut off. That's real important. Make sure you've got the entire piece in there like this person does. Okay, so they have that whole thing there. So again, it goes back to the point with regards to competitive pricing. You again have to ask yourself, why is anyone going to spend $23.25 on this puzzle if there is no history of it selling in the past 60 days for more than $20, and in general it tends to sell for around $13, and we've got multiple people right now who are selling it for right around that price range. So you've got to get the prices lower if you want to make the sales. That doesn't necessarily mean in a disparaging way to say race to the bottom, but it does mean you've got to get it more in line with what the current marketplace is. If you're just way out there kind of just by yourself, then the chances that you're going to make that sale again are very low. Let's go over to another item here that I saw that Neutron had for sale. And this one I took because it's one of his higher priced items, and he said he's trying to sell some higher priced items. So I just grabbed the first one that he had up here, which were these, or one of the first ones here. We've got the, I skipped the Mountain Dew shirt, but we've got these collectible plates because that wasn't expensive. I was looking for like something featured that was pretty pricey. And so we have this one here, which are these 12 Days of Christmas plates. Now, I generally stay away from plates. Not that you can't make money with them, but I just generally stay away from them. I haven't had good luck with them in the past. But you also have to keep in mind the seasonality of the types of things you're selling. Yes, Christmas stuff does sell all year, but it is challenging to sell Christmas plates, a couple of months after Christmas. So this might be something that I would actually take off of the featured item list and put something up there, up top, that would be more likely to sell right now. I'm not saying not to have it listed somewhere on your store, but it probably would not be something I would feature right now, although that's obviously, personal choice. But there's a logic behind it, and that's what I was just trying to explain there in terms of the seasonality. But if we go over here, you can see here Neutron's price on it is $74 plus $37.35 shipping. So we're going to be well over $100 for this item. And there it is right there. So if I scroll and I look at comps for it, and there's Neutron's right there. So I'm going to go lowest to highest in terms of these are ones that are currently on the marketplace. So if we go for ones that are currently on the marketplace, can I find anyone else who is selling this right now cheaper than Neutron is? And it looks like Neutron, does Neutron have everybody beat on these? No, we have somebody else here who is selling them for $64 plus $27.19 shipping. So there we go. So we do have someone who's got you beat on the price. So again, you have to tell yourself, all right, well, what is it, again, about my item that's going to make someone purchase it from me as opposed to this person? Now, you could say something like maybe you have people who are loyal to you in terms of branding, but that's why you've got to build that stuff up. That's why it goes back to the logo and the banner and the username and all that type of stuff. You've got to build that stuff over time so you could get some loyalty purchases like that. But if you don't have that stuff established right now, competing with people on price is really the best way to wind up going about it. In terms of how often does this item sell, let me go back here and see if I have comps data that I pulled off of this. Here we go. So let's go from, let's see, we'll go from highest to lowest in terms of this particular set or anything close to it that is sold. Let's go down. That's a set of, that's not even a set. That's just a couple of them. That's like 5 of them. Let's see if we can find a set of 12. And here we go. So we've got a complete set that was put up on auction. That's why I would never put things like this up on auction, because you're going to wind up getting burned. They sold for $15 plus $9.70 shipping. So I guarantee you this person lost money on this. Unless they wound up getting this gifted to them, it's very likely this person lost money on that sale. And that also tells you there's only one bid for it. So that's not telling you this is something that people are really after right now. And that was on January 6th. So that was shortly after Christmas time, much closer to Christmas time than we are right now. So, you know, it's a continuous theme throughout here that I'm seeing as a problem is supply and demand, supply and demand, supply and demand. Pictures are also important. I'll end off with one other item here. And this is another thing that Neutron has featured in his store. As you could see here up top, this is another higher priced item. I searched his store for the highest priced items. And so this is another reason I picked the plates. The plates are the highest priced item. And then I went over to this one, this clay art Caliente chili pepper theme, which let me make it bigger so you could see it here. So this is it here. And a couple things I'm going to tell you. If you want to sell higher priced items to people, you need to make sure you're displaying it in a high priced way. In other words, you need to make sure that it looks, you know, it looks glamorous. It's got to look nice and clean. It's got to look like, you know, someone's gonna want to spend. If you have $100 item, you got to display it in a way that someone's gonna want to shell over that $100 because they're real confident about what it is that they're getting here. And you know what I see here, I see this type of stuff is on a towel. I don't know if that towel was used. I don't know if Neutron just got out of the shower with it, you know, and then just put this stuff on here. I'm sure he didn't. But I'm just saying, like, we've got some like random cards behind there or something. I don't know. Is this something with the word mind on it? Then here is another tip. Try to avoid. I've got Neutron hovering over the item, taking the picture of it. You want to try to avoid that. So you've got to step back kind of at an angle so that's not showing. If you have the light in it, that's not the worst thing in the world, but if you could try to avoid getting the light in there, you can see the overhead chandelier. I would try to avoid that as well. If we go into some of the other pictures, you could see here, there's things that this could easily be fixed and needs to be rotated, by the way. If you're going to show some words on the bottom, you need to rotate it so the person can see it. But this type of sticker, I would peel this off. It does require a little extra work, but peel it off. Get rid of it. This is what I mean about displaying things properly that are high-priced items. This looks like maybe some tape on the bottom, and so it definitely looks like tape. This is the type of thing that you're going to want to scrape off. Yeah, it requires some extra work, but if you want to sell a $100 piece, you've got to put some prep into it sometimes to get it displayed properly. So, you know, those are the types of things that, you know, I would suggest. Is another example of this here. You can see here, there's some stuff on the bottom. It's like an old tag from Kohl's, by the way. And we've got like a name or something on there and marker. And then I don't know, is the buyer, did that go through? Is that on the plate? It just doesn't look like something. This is what I meant earlier. It doesn't look like something I want to spend $100 on. It just doesn't. So you've got to take the time to put that extra work in. And again, that's not me trying to sound mean or anything like that. I don't know what this picture is trying to convey right here, except maybe there's a little blemish here. I guess that's what it is. But still, I would make sure this is oriented properly, because that's not the way you would use the bowl. So get everything in the proper orientation. Put the extra work to prep the items, clean them up, put them on clean backgrounds to make the sale. So, if we look over here at the clay caliente pieces that are out there, remember, Neutron has a price on it right now that's basically $100, $70 plus $30 shipping. And so you can see my search term here was clay art caliente. And if we go down, look for something somewhat similar, I mean, right here, we've got something that went for over $100, but this is a 16-piece set. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that's in here. And by the way, speaking of that 16-piece set, and this goes back to the puzzle pieces not having not having the amount of puzzle pieces listed. What's missing from here? It doesn't say how many pieces are here. Now, yes, the person could go in and count stuff. I know that, but I always say this: don't make the buyer do the work. Make it as easy as possible. Buyers don't want there to be any guesswork. They want to make sure it's in writing so that they feel protected when they're going to make a purchase. You said there's 10 pieces in there. There better be 10 pieces in there. It doesn't say how many pieces are in there. Then someone could feel it's kind of more up in the air. So you want to make sure you put the number of pieces that are there. But this gives you a sense that this is overpriced as well, because here we've got a 16-piece set, and right here we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, that thing on the bottom, 8. So we've got half the items for very close to the same price, like $20, like $15 off the price somewhat. I mean, it's not that far off. I mean, this is $100, and this one here is really like 97 plus 19. So that's like what, like 20 bucks off, 15 bucks. It's like not that far. So if we backtrack this a little bit more, we'll go in and look at a couple of other items here. Scroll down. We don't see anything that's actually like literally identical to what Neutron has, but at the same time, we also don't see anything that's clay caliente that's selling for tons of money. In fact, here we have something here, $47 plus $12 shipping. So we're dealing with like a $59 item here. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. And they're actually bigger pieces overall. So we've got bigger pieces, and it's selling for less money than the price that we've got over here for this one. And I didn't click on this one before, but I just want to take a look. In addition to what I was saying earlier, look at the display, right? The person has this displayed very nicely, right? They have, it's very clear. You can't see their face in it. Yeah, you could see a little bit of glare, but that's okay. That's normal to see the glare. We don't see any chandeliers in it or anything like that. I mean, that looks good. They've got it on top of like, cupboard boards and things like that. Just make sure if you're putting on top of anything, like any boards or any kind of like pull-out drawers or anything like that, that you make sure you mention those things are not included, even though you would think it should be obvious. But here you go. You got some nice close-ups. The margins are not being cut off or anything like that, except here. But that's an exception because this person's trying to get it. Really, this picture, what this is a zoom in on the actual label there. And you could see here that the sticker is not on there or anything like that. It's a much cleaner look. So that's what you want to do. You could even do things like put like some fruit in there to get like a nice display. Things are oriented properly. So that's what you really want to do. You want to get those nice clean looks, those nice orientations. And if you can't find the identical item, like no one else is selling this type of item either right now, I did check, or previously, then you want to go what's generally close. Now, you could start it off a little higher if you want, but then just lower the price a little bit as time goes on. But again, you want to try to get it somewhat consistent based on what other things are doing. So what I would say is, based on the comps that I have seen, is that this is priced higher than what people are going to pay for it based on the market rate, and that it does need some improvements in terms of display. So that's what I would say are the main themes, Neutron, that are holding you back in terms of sales right now, is that the items need to be priced more in accordance with prior solds and also what your current competition is doing. For the free shipping, it's really pretty simple to do it. I do it all the time. Basically, what you need to do is you just need to make sure that you either sourced your items low, or if you wound up sourcing it high, that what you are eventually going to sell it for is going to easily cover whatever the anticipated shipping costs are, and just incorporate that into one overall price. That's it. So if you bought, for example, the Dale Earnhardt magazine for $1 at a garage sale, and you could ship it first class for $4, and this is just an item that you're only going to be able to sell for $10 or $11, then you put it up for $10 or $11, free shipping, and you just have the shipping price incorporated into there. So on that item, you're probably going to make around $4 or $5 on it. Now, if that's not good enough, if you don't like that, and you want to go out and you want to make bigger profit margins when incorporating the shipping into it, then you've got to go out and you've got to source those other kinds of items that are in higher demand. So this is why buying things in bulk collections winds up being helpful. You could get things for cheap that are really valuable. And in those situations, once you've made all your money back, it's really easy to put in the free shipping, because whatever the total price is, it's all going to be profit minus the shipping costs. And then with the shipping, you just need to know, like, what are the ways to save on shipping? What are the ways to get things, out the cheapest? Is it going to be FedEx versus USPS? Could you ship it off via pirate ship? Could you save money using a padded flat rate envelope rather than shipping it by weight? These are all things that I have explained in the playlist section here, in the shipping section. So you're going to have to go through all those things, and you're going to have to master shipping so that you understand when you go and source an item, or when you list an item, it's this big. It's over 18 inches, for example. So I can't send it out cubic rate. I've got to send it out a different way. Or if it's a book, it's a record, I could send that out media mail, so it's not going to be expensive. Or it's under 16 ounces, so I know I could send it for $4 or $5 because it's under. And yes, for those who don't know, if you print your shipping labels out on eBay through USPS, because I get this comment every time I talk about first class shipping, you can go up to 16 ounces. If you go in the post office, it's different. It's like 13 ounces. But if you do it online, it extends up to 16 ounces. It's one of the benefits if you're, I think you have to be a top rated seller to get that discount. But anyway, so Neutron, I hope that this has helped you in addition to helping other people. Again, not trying to be punitive, just trying to give you the critique that you asked me to do. And hopefully this helps you going forwards in terms of sourcing, and also in terms of just getting the price just right, so that those sales will happen faster, and it will help you ultimately wind up getting those higher priced items. Because I recommend, by the way, doing this type of search that I just showed you while you're sourcing, so you get a better idea of, wow, these are high value pieces or not, in terms of deciding whether or not you want to make a pickup on those things. So that's about it, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel, come back to my Facebook group. If you are a member, check out all the exciting things, lots of exciting fun sale events going on every single day, so make sure you're checking it out every day. If you are not a member, just go down to the description section, you'll see a link to it there, so you could go join there for free, doesn't cost anything. And you could come by as well to follow me on Instagram, that is @prime_time_treasure. I'll see you all back in the next video, everyone. Take care.